Bitcoin is back up over $90,000 and altcoins were flying over the weekend as an announcement from Donald Trump came out Sunday morning that we were having an official U.S. strategic reserve, and he included 5 different cryptos: Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. But there's hints that he's given us that these are not the final 5 coins that will go in the strategic reserve. He also will be giving an announcement in 30 minutes about a massive investment plan. Does it have to do with crypto? Does it have to do with something else? Either way, we will be here live when that announcement comes out. If you're excited about the future of crypto and what is happening in the news right now, make sure to go ahead and smash that like button right now. Hit subscribe as we're almost to 50,000 subscribers. But first, before we get into all of those details, we got to run our intro. Welcome on in, everybody, to the Investing Bros live show. Different time today. We're going live at 1 o'clock instead of 3 because of this massive announcement that Trump will be giving in about 30 minutes. Cannot wait to hear what it is and see what the markets do because of it. But first, before we get into those details, a lot of topics, a lot of stuff to break down from this weekend. Let me introduce these two gentlemen down here below me. We got Smay and Tshroom. Smay, how are we feeling today, my friend?
I'm doing great. I gotta say, Tim, that new burnt orange hoodie looks great on you. Oh my gosh, burnt orange. I wish I was wearing my burnt orange shirt.
This one constitutes burnt orange or not. It's definitely orange.
It's close. That looks pretty burnt if it was orange. Yeah. But anyways, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a good day so far. Good Monday. But I'm gonna throw it over to my man Tshroom. The only one of us. Usually I'm the one all black and lacking color. Today, Tshroom takes up that mantle. How are you doing, my friend Tshroom?
I will wear it with pride, Tim. And good. I would describe the color of your hoodie today as Urban Outfitters hipster yellow.
Wow.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Makes sense.
And Tim, on this day, I am as excited as everyone else to see what the heck Donald Trump, President of the United States, is going to be announcing here at 1:30. I have a pretty far left and right boundary expectation of what it could be. We're going to get into that here at 1:30, and I'm through the moon. How could it get any more bullish than it already is? Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah, the thing to think about is also we want to be very transparent with you. We're not exactly sure what is happening at 1:30. Anytime, right. Tshroom made this statement in our planning meeting, and he's right. Anytime you throw out a time with a special announcement, you would think that's a press conference. However, as we are scouring the internet, some of you guys, if you guys found a link, let us know. We are not finding any link to a live show. For all we know, it's just going to be an announcement coming out on Truth Social or on X. Maybe they last second throw up something on someplace. So just so you guys know, that announcement should be coming out here in about 25 minutes. We will, in the background, be scouring the internet, trying to find a link. If not, we will be scouring the internet for a Truth Social post or an X post. Either way, the markets are going to react. So we wanted to get a little early into the show today. We wanted to address what's happening over the last 48 hours. Crazy weekend in the crypto space. Hit some targets we talked about over the weekend. But the question now becomes, whereas last week, we kind of had this feeling and thought that 90,000 was back on the table, above 90,000 on the table, but it could have been a manipulated move that just was a bull trap or a dead cat bounce, that we were going to plummet down below. That was before we knew that Donald Trump would announce a crypto strategic reserve. Now that that news is on the table, the question is the bottom in? Are we going to be hitting new all-time highs very, very soon? We had an impromptu live stream yesterday with over 19,000 people tuning in, which was awesome. But today we have a little more clarity. We have a little more coming out. I want to throw it, before we get into the charts, throw it over to Tshroom. We normally just do a minute-long rundown of the news, but a lot of these stories will come back out later. But Tshroom, go ahead and take it away. What is the news that's happening today, over the weekend, that everyone needs to know about?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing I'd say is this is the Cabesi letter has put out some guidance from the Atlanta Fed. This is an interesting one. Essentially, they think that the Atlanta Fed is projecting that the GDP for the United States will fall from 3.9, which is the initial estimate, to 2.8% in just 4 weeks. So that is a big revision. That is not something that the market was anticipating, I don't believe. So that's pretty big. We'll come back to it. David Sachs confirming here that he indeed did sell all of his cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, prior to the start of the administration. A crypto czar with no crypto? We'll definitely have to talk about that a little bit more. Why might that be? Excited to learn more, says Brian Armstrong. Still forming an opinion on asset allocation, but my current thinking is, this is in response to the announcement yesterday on Sunday about the Cardano, XRP, and Solana additions to the crypto strategic reserve for the United States. Brian said just Bitcoin would probably be the best option, simplest, clearest store of successor to gold. But number two, if folks wanted more variety, you could do a market cap weight index of crypto assets to keep it unbiased. Tim, this is exactly the kind of stuff that we love to talk about, kind of speculate on what would be best. What would do we agree with Brian? Do we agree with him on everything or just a little bit? We'll definitely be getting more into that here later in the show. This is big news here. The SEC offers eligible employees $50,000 incentive to resign or retire by April 4th, presumably of 2025, this year. So that's pretty big coming up in tax season. They're not the tax regulators, I'll point out. They're just the SEC. Congressman Tom Emmer and Richie Torres launch a congressional crypto caucus to advance pro-crypto legislation. Is this big, or is this just another subcommittee? Let's look here. U.S. Senate to vote this week on repealing a major IRS rule threatening crypto and DeFi. That could be bullish. SEC drops lawsuit against Kraken, as well as Tim posting this chart that we'll be talking about a little bit later, kind of showing maybe what are some of the coins that could be up next. And we have two more headlines here. Powell still controls the short end, but Musk now controls the long end of the yield curve, says Bank of America. And finally, XRP has flipped Ethereum. It flipped Ethereum, at least on CoinGecko. That happened after the big announcement. So, Tim,
now real quick on that one, zoom in real quick. Let's look at that chart because it didn't pass it in market cap, right? The market cap is very far away from passing. Click on it and zoom in. It passed it in terms of, there's one metric. I looked at this when you posted it. I think it's that it's an FDV or whatever. Yeah.
Day volume.
Yes. Yeah. Massive volume happening XRP. That was not market cap. Again, if you look at the market cap numbers, it's really small, so I can't quite see it. Is that 190 billion for XRP versus 273?
No, it 276 billion over Ethereum's 273 billion.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's a good catch there, Tim, for sure. We'll be talking about all that news and more.
It is a topic to be on the lookout, though. That with Ethereum still struggling to gain momentum, XRP clearly has it. I wouldn't be surprised in this bull market over the next 12 or so months to see a headline officially in terms of market cap where XRP surpassed Ethereum. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how Ethereum picks up some steam. Of course, they both were listed as coins that will be going into an American strategic reserve for crypto. But I want to address, before we get into the charts here, again, we're going to be hearing an announcement in the next 20 minutes from Donald Trump and his team. It's an investment announcement, but Chief makes a good point here. And by the way, when we put this stream out there and we decided we want to go early, very little information came out. Since then, he's absolutely right, but I'm explaining to you why it's still very relevant for crypto investors to stick around and pay attention to. Chief said, guys, too much hype around crypto. This announcement is to do with the Taiwan Semiconductor investments, nothing to do with crypto. Absolutely. You're 100% correctly. This announcement will not be about crypto, but with the recent announcement we had yesterday, with the fact that we have supposedly another crypto announcement from Trump coming out, I believe it's tomorrow night. Some people think it's tonight, Tshroom. I don't know. Is it tonight or tomorrow night? I think the tweet went out this morning saying tomorrow night. But either way, very soon, another private message specifically about crypto from Trump. And then, of course, the other big announcement on the 7th, we will have another massive detail coming from the White House where Trump's tweets or his Truth Social posts make it sound like the 5 coins that were listed in the strategic reserve plan are not going to be the final 5. We will talk more on that later. But with this news, the Taiwan Semiconductor investment, we're talking about added liquidity into the economy of the U.S., which, by the way, is having some problems based on those GDP numbers. When you add liquidity, that is good for the highest looking investments, the most intriguing looking investments. And right now, we are a little over 24 hours past the announcement that crypto will be held by America for strategic reserve. We watched Cardano skyrocket almost 70, or I think it went above 70% to the upside before cooling off. Bitcoin got back above 90. The other coins skyrocketed as well. Watch institutions and whales and lots of big money that's never been invested in crypto before now feel more confident about diving in the deep end of crypto because of this news. So any extra liquidity, any extra thing that boosts our economy is going to be seen as a positive for the crypto space. That's the connection we're looking at here. With that said, though, let's get in and take a look at the Bitcoin chart. Let's take a look at a couple different charts here while we continue to wait for the Trump announcement, again, coming out at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys can see here, we're retracing pretty well today, but yesterday, Bitcoin woke up at $86,085 to $86,000 and shot all the way up before the end of the day, back up above $94,000. In fact, we touched briefly 95,000. Did not set a new high, have not necessarily gotten us completely out of the woods, but with that news, this was a major win to come back up. Now, today, people clearly woke up. The Chinese markets woke up. They sold off. American markets woke up, they sold off. We find ourselves back down below $90,000. But one of the big reasons why that probably is because the same conversation why we said we needed to come back down towards 77 is the same reason why a little bit of a retracement would make sense here as well. When I move over into our Bitcoin CME futures, you will see that when we closed the markets on Friday, we closed at pretty much $85,000. And I'm not saying we're going to have to fill the whole thing all over again, but all of a sudden, we created a whole new level here. We've already filled some of it, but this was a massive, massive gap. And in fact, I would be surprised. I'm not going to do the research right here while we're live. Is that the largest gap in Bitcoin CME futures history? Closing at 85,000 on a Friday, opening up at pretty much 95,000 on Monday morning. Monday when the markets reopened. That's a massive, massive gap here. So could we drop all the way back to 85 and technically just be closing that gap? Absolutely. Not saying we necessarily have to go that low. We're going to watch here in about 15 minutes and see if the markets get any type of excitement off the news from Donald Trump's announcement. But for now, that is what is happening. It is okay. I told you guys yesterday's live stream, a break to new all-time highs was never going to be linear. We were never going to see Bitcoin just do a straight line back up to new all-time highs. It was always going to be volatile with some ups and some downs and some ups and some downs. The question's going to become, though, can Bitcoin reclaim $100,000? That to me is the level we are all watching and holding our breath on to know for certain that Bitcoin is out of the woods. What I mean out of the woods? Well, technically, we're still in a downtrend since all-time highs. Bitcoin has still been putting in lower highs all the way down here, marked by this red line, and lower lows. This most recent high at 95,000 still lower than guess where? 99.4, or in other words, let's round it up, $100,000. If we can reconquer $100,000, we will have changed the macro trend on the 4-hour and daily chart to get back into higher highs and higher lows. That would be a win for the Bitcoin charts. Until that happens, technically, a lower low is on the table. With that said, news of a crypto strategic reserve, that is the news that I told you guys last week, that until we got something big, some big splash, either quantitative easing, which we might hear from soon, or regulatory clarity, which this falls under, we have no reason to produce new all-time highs anytime soon. Now that news is here, we are on watch. We're just waiting for confirmation with a breakout above 100K here for Bitcoin. Some other things you're going to want to pay attention to here with Bitcoin is the Bitcoin Dominance chart. On the 4-hour chart, we got a nice bearish divergence here last week. We plummeted down briefly, going below 60%. But I was on Stocks with Josh channel last night, and he was asking me what my take on Bitcoin dominance is. And I do believe at some point, Bitcoin dominance is going to fall again. I think the Bitcoin dominance will at some point in this bull market find its way down to 50%. That being said, we're sitting kind of in no man's land at the moment with the price action, with the candles, because when I pull up the oscillators here on the daily chart, this is something I don't really like seeing. You can see the price action after getting back above 62 here on February 7th has, it did fall to 60%, but it's kind of trading sideways. We've kind of leveled out. We're kind of going back and forth between 62 and 60% dominance. But at the same time, the MACD plummeted. The RSI plummeted. And what we're seeing is we're flirting with some mid levels, which could mean one of two things. I know people hate could go up, could go down, but that's what we're looking at. Whenever oscillates come back down from being overbought back to the neutral levels, and we're seeing this on all three of our major oscillators, the Luxago oscillator, the MACD, and the RSI, this could be one of two things. The beginning of a larger downward move where we get into an oversold territory, but Bitcoin dominance falls maybe sub 58%, or it could be a reload where the oscillators shoot back to oversold and the price action of this candle goes back higher, maybe shoots back up towards the wick of here at 64%. So while I remain extremely optimistic and bullish long-term on the bull market, I do believe altcoin season, it's different than the past, but we will see a time where altcoins outpace Bitcoin on a macro time frame and Bitcoin dominance comes to the downside. I'm not guaranteeing you that is right now, right? This chart right here is very neutral, very could go up, could go down. It's going to depend a whole lot on what the rest of this week looks like. That being said, I want to encourage everybody, as Bitcoin is now sub $89,000. Like I said, that's okay. We could make our way all the way back down towards 85 and still be in bullish territory here. I want to encourage you, whereas literally just on Saturday night, we were sitting in boat. Who knows when a new all-time high is coming? What catalyst could send us to new highs? We now have our catalyst with recent news events. If we can confirm the rest of this week and we get going again, we very well could be seeing brand new all-time highs before or during April or May at the very worst. It will depend, though, on what are the details, what are the notes that come out in the rest of the meetings. However, right now, I'm sitting in a boat that I classify as cautiously optimistic. What does that mean? Cautiously optimistic means I am bullish. I believe that we are going to see new all-time highs soon, but I'm still being defensive. I'm still aware of the conditions that need to be met. On the charts, 100,000. That is our line in the sand. Bitcoin needs to get back above 100,000 this week, or we could find ourselves prolonged situation of being still down here towards 70, bouncing 70 and 90 until a bigger news story comes out. That is the case for Bitcoin. Let's talk really quickly about a really hot altcoin coming in here, Cardano. I'm not going to do a lot of in-depth technicals today because, again, the news that comes out not only in the next 10 minutes, but also the rest of this week will have massive impacts on the charts. But I love what Cardano did yesterday as it skyrocketed. I told you guys 70%. It actually went 70. Let's see. Let's just get clear here. 79%, almost 80% to the upside, getting back up to $1.17, a price we have not seen since back here in January. But notice where it's retracing at the moment. Some people are going to say, oh, there we go. Cardano's below $1. We're in trouble. Not so fast, my friends. You guys are going to see this line right here, this red descending line. This was the formation we talked about all of last week. We've been talking about this since December. This falling channel on Cardano, yes, it fell dramatically, but massive volume came in here. In fact, if I go back to the daily chart, this was the highest volume on a daily candle that Cardano has seen since way back in May of 2021. So people went nuts for Cardano, and now as we're pulling back, it's simply bringing itself back down to former resistance, hopefully turning it into support. This would be a beautiful bullish retest, and then Cardano would continue to the upside. If this breaks the way it should, let me get rid of that marker real quickly. Cardano from this descending channel, at the very least, should want to make its way back up here towards $1.44. I say back. We haven't been at $1.44 since the last bull market, or sorry, the last bear market on our way down. $1.44 is going to be right in this camp here, pretty much back these peaks we had January of 2022. Okay, so very big move for Cardano if this continues to hold its bullish trajectory, but big news for it as it was listed onto those 5 coins that are going to be making their way into the strategic reserve. Other coins on that list, Ethereum propped back up, but I drew this line last night and I told everybody, hey, for Ethereum to get back out of the woods, to feel bullish again, not only do we need to get back above 2,600, I said 2,600, 2,500 could be resistance. We need to make our way back up over 2,800, beat out that high. You can see Ethereum fell flat on that, not as bullish necessarily as Cardano was. Same for Solana, very good level. But again, I put this zone right here, former support zone. I said, hey, if we cannot get back above 180, 182, this is simply a strong level of resistance. We really need to get back above 205 to feel bullish again. Sure enough, it rejected on its level. What about XRP? XRP had a very good day yesterday. I did not have a zone for that one. What I love about what XRP is doing, very similar to Cardano, it broke above a longer time frame resistance level. And right now, even though we're slightly below it, wicks can happen. We're working on a potential rebound bounce here for XRP. By the way, short term, this movement, if it ends up confirming a bullish breakout, could send XRP up above $4.40 before it is said and done. But again, we are waiting on how the rest of this week handles all this information, handles crypto being a strategic reserve. We're going to get into some news stories after the Trump announcement here in just a couple of minutes. But I want to throw it over to Tshroom and get his take on it, because you guys have not heard from him about this strategic reserve. I asked the poll earlier, by the way, very even split here. I asked the poll earlier, 1,200 votes. Which coin in the strategic reserve that Trump announced would you remove? Right? The reason we're asking that is, and asking that question, we're going to talk about that. Brian Armstrong has some thoughts there. This is one of the most evenly split votes, Tshroom, we've ever seen. With 1,200 votes coming in, 24% are saying Ethereum, 26% are saying XRP, 26% saying Solana, and 24% saying Cardano. It's really 25, 25, 25, 25. Our community is split equally. I'm going to start with that hard question and then get your take. Tshroom, I know it's an impossible question. I know you don't want to answer it, but you have to. Choose one coin. Hands tied behind your back. Weapon to your head. I don't want to say a word that gets YouTube off us. Which coin would you remove from this list if you had to remove one?
I mean, obviously each of these have a merit to being in the strategic reserve, but I would have to say XRP just because it's the least decentralized, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the one, I don't have an incentive to say that because that's the one that's going to get me the most hate for saying. But what do you think, Tim?
No, I decided I don't want to answer. I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you had that option, but I just, like I said, hopefully no one in XRP community is hating Tshroom. Tshroom does not hate XRP. That is an impossible question. These are very, very good projects to be in here. Again, I have 2 others that on the top of my head that I think should be in this list as well. You probably can stretch that to 3 or 4. But let's break down these 4 real quick. Ethereum, still the queen of crypto, right? If we're going to get other coins to join Bitcoin, the queen of crypto, Ethereum, it's still the largest layer 1 solution in crypto. It still has so much of the ecosystem built on it and such a bright future. You can't vote against Ethereum. You move to XRP. XRP is that banker's coin. It's going to be the one kind of bridging that gap between old finance and Web3 finance and blockchain technology. Again, there's a reason why they're number 3 in coin market cap. People love XRP. Some of you guys don't love XRP, but people of the world have put their money into XRP. Solana is, I believe, the coin of the people in the sense of, I don't think anyone here right now, Cardano people, hold off before you hate on me. Very few people in this chat would be able to go onto Cardano and build a coin or build a project for their company. Solana is going to be one of the fastest, easiest ways for people to get their businesses, get their livelihood, get their stuff going on Solana. Solana's got a lot of stuff built on it, right? And there's a reason why Solana's on that list. And of course, then Cardano, the king of decentralization on this list, the king of security, the king of being able to actually work through the future and have transparency, yet security, and know that things are being run correctly. These 4 coins, along with Bitcoin, I wouldn't remove a single one of them. So hopefully no one took what Tshroom said as an offense. It's really hard to answer. I'll tell you this. As much as this sounds crazy, because I believe there's other things that could solve it, my solution, the one I would take off of here, if I had to choose one, I wouldn't want to, but if I had to choose one, would actually be Ethereum. I think XRP, Solana, and Cardano are all extremely valuable for the future. Ethereum could be, but I think there's other things that could replicate what Ethereum does more so than replicating what the other three of these do. Let me know in the comments, though, what you guys think. Don't murder us because we love all of these. Tshroom, let me give you overall take now. We had a nice fun game. Give me your overall take. When you saw this news, what's going through your head? How do you feel about the markets right now that Trump has made this massive announcement for crypto holders?
Yeah, well, in the financial risk markets, we're always asking, okay, now what? What's the next big narrative? What's the next big thing to trade on? What do I do? Right? And I don't know that it's necessarily clear to institutional investors that this was the moment that they've been waiting for, right? I think they got the names, right? But these are names that their research teams probably came to the conclusion on months ago when they ordered the reports, and now they know, okay, XRP, Solana, Cardano, yeah, those are all the reps we've talked to. Maybe they're curious about why they're not hearing about AVAX or HBAR or maybe some other coins or Chainlink. But I think institutional investors are sitting there like, okay, if we're not retail, where's the transactions? Like, when are you going to buy Cardano? When are you going to buy XRP and Solana and Bitcoin and Ethereum? When is this reserve going to get filled? What's the number, the initial number, and then at what rate is the United States going to have a net positive purchasing policy for these assets in the same way that they have a net positive purchasing policy for gold and for oil and for other commodities, right? So that's the real question I want answered as retail, and just through kind of thinking about what institutions might be considering at this point. Now, I say all that because that's what the market really cares about. They care a lot less about yesterday. They care a lot more about tomorrow. So that's truly what my take is. Overall, though, this was very, very big, right? And it was very, very big for people who care and are in those communities. They got the validation they've been looking for, and we're probably not going to go see the local bottoms that we saw a few months ago. So, yeah, that's kind of my take. Very big.
Yeah, very, very big. And of course, some people are watching charts right now. Bitcoin has fallen now below $88,000. Let me show that chart here for just a second. I just finished telling everybody, if you guys are just joining us, we have 2,600 people here on YouTube, another 1,000 over on X. Welcome in. Smash the like button wherever you are. We have a CME gap once again from this weekend all the way down at 85,000. What I didn't tell you earlier, but we did tell our VIP trading group, was there was a little bit of a bear pennant in play here. Let me show you out. And the target was $86,000. If you guys are not in our VIP trading group, what are you doing? You need to get in part of our VIP trading group. But yeah, this was the formation in play here. Guess what? Bear pennants, they do something like this. You take the explosive move, you move it over to the last resistance touch, and this is going to put us down here towards 86,180. I would be surprised if it doesn't go a little bit lower than that, but this is all a part of a move that I was expecting this morning. I would say I thought 90K was going to be defended once again, but once we lost it here around 950 this morning, that's when I said, all right, that's it. We're going to have to drop a little bit lower here, more than likely down here towards $86,000 to $85,000. Do not freak out, though. That, of course, would still be a higher low than the 78 or 77. What was it? $78,200 bottom we just had. That is not the end of the world. This was always going to be volatile. We're about a minute away from supposedly getting an announcement. Now, did we find out? Is it going to be a press conference, or is it just going to be a post on some website?
So we do have a live stream that may have him come up and speak. It looks like the next thing on their schedule is to bring him up to speak. That is from a corporate site, though, so it's going to be there'll be maybe some questions around the publishability of that and the monetization of the video. So we're still trying to work to find a .gov that's streaming this, but more than likely, we'll see major Twitter news channels coming out with what the actual event is, what the actual
just so people are aware. Again, we talked about this earlier. We are very aware that the announcement itself will probably not have a direct conversation about crypto in this one. There will be a crypto conversation he has. We don't know if it's either tonight or tomorrow night based off the timing of his tweet. But the implications of this announcement should have ripple effects on the crypto market. So we do want to watch it. While we are watching that, I see someone saying CNBC is streaming it. Smay says he's monitoring the stream. I wanted to bring Smay up. Smay, you have a hot take in chat here about
Oh,
the
no.
strategic reserve. And I'm not going to spare you. Listen, Tshroom had to answer this uncomfortably. I had to answer this
I'm not
uncomfortably.
uncomfortable.
Smay should have to answer this uncomfortably. What coin
I'm so
or
calm
multiple
collected.
coins would you remove from this strategic reserve?
I'm so calm collected, not uncomfortable at all. I would take all of them except Bitcoin. Why do you ask that? Because I think, unfortunately, these altcoins have not they've not technologically proven themselves as being something worth having as our country's reserve. So I'm sorry, only Bitcoin. That's as simple as that, and I will take that on the chin if everybody disagrees with me. I will be the unpopular guy. But
that's good. You just get all 4 communities to hate you equally instead of only choosing one. That's a good take right there. I think that's a good one.
It's like, listen, it has nothing to do with whether or not I think people should invest in them. But like, come on, it's like it's not proven yet. They're still in the phase of trying to prove themselves. So
the good news is, Smay,
that's my opinion.
You're in good company. You're not the only person sharing that opinion. Of course, we're going to talk about it later after this Trump announcement. But in case you hadn't heard, Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, also agrees with Smay. And I'll tell you this: as much as I'm excited about the altcoins, I understand the logic of saying let's just do Bitcoin. But I'll be honest with you, I'm very excited about these other coins, and then in some others that I think will be added as well. Which let's go ahead and take a break here from this conversation, and we were going to come back and talk more discussions about this reserve. But first, Smay, are we seeing anything on that announcement page? Is there a video live yet? Are we still in waiting? If so, we'll continue the conversation.
We have the news stream up. It said, like what Tshroom said. It's they mentioned it that's what's coming up next. I think they're still waiting for him to take the podium. So right now they're just showing a old press conference from the mayor of New York. So as soon as it cuts to Trump, I will let you guys know.
All right. Well, if that is the case, let's start another conversation here then, Tshroom. And I gotta find the tweet that we had from back. Man, do you have the picture? Do you have the picture of the Truth Social announcement from Donald Trump, the second one where he talked about Bitcoin and Ethereum? If so, we have to find that one because I want to mention that's going to start the next conversation. What else are we going to see coming with this reserve? Are these the final coins? Will we see an addition to this? Tell me if you have that tweet up or not.
I do not have it now, but I'm very quickly hunting it down. Oh yeah, I got it now. All right,
you got it. Okay, yeah. Go ahead and share up Tshroom screen, then we'll go back to mine. But let's see what he's got going there. All right, so this is the tweet that went out here. Of course, yesterday morning. It was roughly, I don't know, in the world of 10 a.m. is when this news went berserk that Donald Trump talked about XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Well, of course, the world went berserk, especially Bitcoin Maxi saying, has he given up on Bitcoin? What about Bitcoin? What about Ethereum? He tweeted this out shortly after. He said, obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, and obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, as other valuable cryptocurrencies, will be at the heart of the reserve. I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum. So what he's saying here is, hey, it wasn't just XRP, Solana, and Cardano, although those are the big 3 that we want to start with early. Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum, that was an afterthought because we already had decided we loved Bitcoin and Ethereum. The question, though, is as other valuable cryptocurrencies, is there going to be more added? I firmly believe there will be. I think it's very hard to say with the 4 that we had on top of Bitcoin that there won't be others added. And I retweeted this earlier. Go ahead and go to my screen now here, Smay. I know that's confusing. You guys heard my voice with Tshroom just looking dapper over there. This tweet going out, I reminded people, I posted this a couple of months ago. I said this chart will be very important to watch this week as we wait to see what other coins join the strategic reserve in the U.S. Let's zoom out for a second. This is an image that went out in January, late January, with focusing on the 4 big circles of institutional adoption right now. Grayscale's list of coins that they hold, the Coinbase 50 index that they recommend people hold, coins that were made in the United States. That's very significant because we know that Donald Trump and his supporters want America to be the staple of cryptocurrency across the world. And then, of course, there's the World Liberty Financial company that's, of course, owned by the Trump family, the coins that are invested in them. Now, this image went out because it was signifying Chainlink at the time. I think other coins have joined it at this point, but Chainlink at the time, back in January, was the only coin inside all 4, okay? But the reason I'm bringing this chart up now is not solely to talk about Chainlink, although based upon this, I would say Chainlink absolutely should be, if we're looking at coin number 6 to come out. There we go. If Trump comes up, let me know and I'll stop talking and we'll go to Trump. I I think Chainlink could easily be number 6. I think Ondo squeaking in down here, made in the USA and World Liberty Financial, I think that could easily squeeze into number 7. And then after that, I think you're looking at some other legitimate projects. I think you're looking at SUI. I think you're looking at AVAX. I think you're looking at a couple other coins in here. I'm not being able to pinpoint which ones for certain. Another one, even though it's not in the US, Aave. I would say Aave has had a lot of momentum recently. Of course, the Trump seemed to like it because of World Liberty Financial holding it. But what in chat, I'm going to throw it to you, Tshroom, here in a second, but you guys in chat, go ahead and start dropping what coins. I see HBAR. I think HBAR is another good one as well. What coins do you think are the most likely next up to join inside this strategic reserve? For that, Tshroom, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think AVAX is probably up there. Why? Because there's a CEO, right? There's people behind it that are significant and that are in America, right? I think if you look at the commonalities between XRP, Solana, and XRP, Solana, and Cardano, there's an American person, right, that exists and has had meetings with Donald Trump. Yeah. You know, Donald Trump is a businessman. There's probably a lot about crypto that he doesn't understand. There's a lot about crypto I don't understand, right? But he looks at people who are very smart, like Charles Hoskinson. He can look them in the eye, ask them questions, and then when he gets the answers, he can make a conclusion. Okay, this is something that should be in the reserve. And he can look to his left, he can look to his right, talk to his aides, David Sachs, his sons, the Winklevoss twins. He can talk to anybody and ask them questions, right, and try to get to the bottom of it. So I think AVAX is probably the answer in my opinion, because there's a person there that has that's here in the United States. You know, the next one that would come to mind would probably be maybe either Uniswap or Aave, but they're not really layer 1, so I'm not sure how that would fit. But perhaps Ondo, which does have a layer 1, but that would be really crazy, right? Because it's such a small market cap. I suppose Chainlink could also be in that conversation easily, but a lot of folks would say that, you know, that's not a blockchain, right? That's a Oracle network. So I think AVAX is probably the best answer.
Interesting. Yeah, I would put AVAX somewhere in the world of like 8 or 9 on my list. I think Link and Ondo make a whole lot of sense before them. But again, let me know in chat what you guys think. By the way, as we are continuing to wait on Donald Trump, who is notoriously late for his press conferences, here at the Investing Bros, we try our very hardest to go live. We normally are live at 3 p.m. every single weekday. Today, of course, special event. We went live at 1 o'clock. If you're new here, if you've never seen the Investing Bros before, welcome. We're so glad you are here with us. Make sure to smash the like button. Hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our content. We put, again, live shows 5 days a week. We're putting out videos to educate you on the space. But if you want to invest in cryptocurrency, if you're new to the crypto space, if you're new to investing, I encourage you to join first our free Discord where the conversation never stops. There's just a world of knowledge in there. Go check out the link down below. And if you want to go further and get educated on how to read the charts and how to process the fundamentals of the crypto space, check out the BROZ trading community, our different membership option levels. We will help you select the right one for you. Not everyone wants to be a trader. Not everyone wants to be a long-term investor. Wherever you are in your investment and trading journey, we are here to help you. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and in our Discord. You don't want to make any misses there. While we continue to wait on Trump, again, Smay will let us know the second that he is up. So stick with us. Do not go anywhere. I want to go back and start having some more conversations, Tshroom, on the other things happening at the moment here. There's a big story that came out with David Sachs. Now, Tshroom's going to tell us who David Sachs is, what the significance of it is. But David Sachs is a big proponent of crypto, has been for a while, but he has sold all of his cryptocurrency, and the internet is split on exactly what this means for the crypto space. Tshroom, let's dive into that story with David Sachs. First of all, tell us who he is, what he's responsible for, and let's discuss that breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely. So David Sachs is the host of the extremely popular All In podcast with other VCs like Chamath Chattopadhyay. Now, he is now the crypto and AI czar under the Trump administration. This account here, George Hammond on Twitter, asked, David Sachs has sold his personal cryptocurrency holdings according to a person with knowledge of the matter. So he made that claim, and David Sachs retweeted it and said, correct. I sold all my cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, prior to the start of the administration. So, Tim, some people are confused by this. They might interpret this as, whoa, he sold. Is he bearish on crypto? And now he's got a bunch of power in the Trump administration. What should people's takeaway really be from this tweet?
Yeah, before I say the significance of what I think here, it is funny. Again, so the day he sold crypto, of course, is right before he was hired to run the position in the government. Go back to the day he tells us he sold his crypto. Go to my screen here, Smay. Coincidentally, my man sold at like 106,000 where Bitcoin was. Or in other words, my man sold the top, right? So this is where I think a lot of conflict is coming. You can go off my screen now. He sold the top. And it looks like that would be evidence to say that he knew something the rest of us didn't. At the end of the day, I agree with what I'm seeing here in chat. Some people are putting in here. I believe this was a removing himself from a conflict of interest. He knows that over however long he serves, whether he only serves for a year or 2 years or 4 years, all along with Trump, he is going to be very instrumental and helpful in the future legislation of what crypto looks like in the United States. And he wanted to make sure that he was making as objective a decisions as possible. So even though it's funny that he sold at the top of a movement, I believe the only reason that he sold was because of that. He didn't want to have that conflict of interest. He didn't want to be accused of favoritism. He wanted to make the best possible decisions for the American people he could possibly. And to pump his own bags, he didn't want to be, for lack of a better put it, he didn't want to be like the normal in Congress and Senate, where we have congressmen and senators who are constantly pumping their own bags at the expense of the American people. He wanted to be as objective as possible. And so to me, I think it's actually quite honorable and makes a whole lot of sense while he sold the crypto. It's just kind of funny and coincidental that he was able to sell at pretty much the perfect time to get out of the market for the big dip. But rest assured, I think in the next couple of months, next couple of years, we're going to go up. Like, we're going to get higher than this. He will probably eventually buy back in once he's finished serving the country. But before anyone freaks out too much, we brought this story just because there was confusion on it. There was concern. Absolutely, though, I believe this is a very common sense approach of somebody who wants to not be caught up in a scandal, who doesn't want to be called a bag holder and just manipulating their own bags to benefit. He really wants to see what's best for the American people. Do you agree with that sentiment, Tshroom? Do you think there's anything else to discuss there with that one?
No, I think he does. I think he buys back too when he gets out of the administration. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I believe there's a sunset earlier than the end of the Trump term on his role, on David Sachs's role. So he'll be out of there before Trump's done. So just I think the same as Doge. So they're going to get done what they need to get done. I believe before the midterms, a date before the election in the United States. So. And he'll be right back on the All In podcast with a renewed sense of experience and understanding of how Washington really works and how that is the nexus between the future of crypto and AI and Wall Street. This is how you would expect the world to work in 2025 with the internet and with fast communication, is somebody who's just kicked butt in the industry. Smash the like and hit the subscribe button, by the way. We have a lot of people watching on Twitter and YouTube, but somebody who has kicked butt in the industry, actually work with the president of the United States to understand what's going on and to actually have a little bit more access to the elected officials in the House and in the Senate, as well as in the White House. So I think it's great. I think he made a sacrifice by selling. He happened to have sold the top. Maybe he coordinated it. I try proving it, right? I don't know. That's you can take him to court if you want. I believe him that he did that blindly. So you also have to remember too, the top coincided with Trump inauguration. That's a complete coincidence. That's the market. You could have predicted that, to be honest with you. So.
As we continue to wait on Donald Trump, again, he's supposedly going to be on live here very soon. But I'll say this. This is probably like the fourth or fifth time. We should have known, Tshroom and Smay. I don't think I've ever seen Trump get on time to a press conference. We should have known it would be at least 10 to 15 minutes. We're at 15 minutes late now. People are pointing out in chat. Let's go take a look over here in chat. The markets are dropping, right? So welcome in everybody who's just joining us. We did start the stream off as we were up closer towards 90K, letting everybody know that more than likely, going to share my stream here, Smay. more than likely we're going to see Bitcoin find its way back down towards $86,000 to $85,000. If you're wondering why that is, it's because of this chart right here, the Bitcoin futures chart, where on Friday we closed out here just below $85,000. We reopened all the way up at $95,000, and we've been doing this slow process of working our way back. If anyone's wondering why this is, I thought there was a funny tweet that went out, and I'm not going to find it here, but Eric Trump, I think it was Eric Trump. It was one of the Trump sons, right? They commented, I love how he does this when Wall Street can't get involved. And I was like, listen, I love that too. I love that thought process that a lot of the big announcements that Trumps have made, he's made in after hours. He's made over the weekend. He's trying to give the people the ability to get in early. The problem is the whales and the institutions, they still control the market. And there's a saying in crypto that when retail misses the boat, sorry, sucks to suck. If you don't buy in these dips, you're going to miss out. When whales miss the boat, though, they find a way to bring the boat back. So with the massive news that happened yesterday, and we saw Bitcoin go up, and we're going to look at some other coins here in a second as well, with a skyrocketing price action and yet creating this massive gap, what we're watching unfold before our eyes is the whales, the institutions who couldn't buy yesterday, they're going to get their cut as well. This is not a removal of everything that's bullish. This is not a bearish sign in the long term, unless we start breaking down here and go below 77. Unless something is said in the press conference here in just a couple of minutes that's very bearish, or something says in the next couple of days goes badly. This, to me, is not something to freak out about. It was a high likelihood situation where we would fill that major gap. If you look at the daily chart for Bitcoin, this is where I think some people are going to be a little freaked out. But again, let's watch and see how the day closes before we make any final decisions. You always want to watch how charts close or candles close before you make your statement. We're almost back down to where we started the day yesterday. Again, back down here towards $86,000. I would not be surprised if during today's daily candle, we end up hitting that. Again, closing out that gap. It's the Ethereum chart that I would probably say looks the worst of them all. I mean, it already had the smallest pump from yesterday, and it's already cleared out, gone below the lows from yesterday. But when you look at the other ones, Solana, I mean, we still have a little ways to go, but Solana did a big move, hit resistance. We still have some support up in there. XRP, we're about halfway through the XRP candle. Again, started off here at 219, shot up to over $3. Now we're back down here on 246, give or take. Again, let's watch where the wicks end up being and where the candle actually closes before we freak out. And then you have Cardano, which, yeah, it's back down to 90 cents after being at $1.17. But look at where we started yesterday. Cardano holders are still sitting very, very, very pretty. What we're waiting on in the markets right now, we kind of have this new zone. We're kind of waiting for the next big step and for the institutions to get their fill. Once they've gotten their fill, this bullish news will take Bitcoin and crypto and send it to the upside. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be one linear movement. Volatility is constant. What I'm watching right now is I'm watching not just the daily candle overall. I'm watching these lower time frames. I'm watching to see what this looks like playing out. We told you guys earlier that there was a pattern that formed earlier today called a bear pennant pattern with a target all the way down here closer to $86,000. Follow the charts. They don't lie to you that frequently. Sometimes they do, but more often than not, they don't lie to you. Pay attention to when big news comes. And when there's no news, the charts are extremely lethal at calling your different levels. And right now, I'm not surprised whatsoever if we drop to 86 or heck, even closer towards $85,000. That still would be a higher low on a shorter time frame ever since we got this fantastic news for the cryptocurrency space. So don't be freaking out, everybody. With that said, though, lots of bots in chat. Thank you to all of our moderators who are helping clean up all of the chaos in chat. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Make sure you're smashing that like button. Still waiting on President Donald Trump to come out and make his announcement. The markets are just plummeting while we wait on him. But you know what? Sometimes when there's a big event, you can go off my screen now, Smay. Sometimes when there's a big event that's about to happen, you'll see a misdirection of the chart movements. I would not be surprised if even like the minute he comes out on stage, we actually see a small bump in these prices. The question is going to be then what is said, what is announced to determine, do we sustain the bullish bounce or do we make a pullback further down towards 85,000? Someone says Trump already made it. Smay, any word there on your? Any
So
word
I
there on
still
your?
see nothing.
Yeah.
What?
So I've got a couple.
Pull up your screen. What are you seeing right now?
I'll
Is
show
somebody
you
else
what I
talking?
see right now. Yes, this is it. It says soon.
Uh,
Trump makes announcement, and now
Yeah.
it's just the mayor of New York chatting away.
So in the meantime, let me just fill some folks in here
yeah.
on what we're likely to hear, what the media has already kind of printed. So this is the top headline on CNBC right now: Taiwan Semiconductor to announce 100 billion investment in U.S. chips manufacturing plant. President Donald Trump is slated to announce 100 billion investment to TSMC. The money will go toward building new chip fabs in the U.S. for the next 4 years. Trump has repeatedly called out and accused Taiwan of stealing the U.S. chip manufacturing business and touted tariffs on semiconductor imports. We also see this from Cointelegraph. Take this with a grain of salt because I haven't corroborated this with many other sources, but breaking: Trump announces new tariffs on external agricultural products starting April 2nd, encouraging U.S. farmers to boost domestic production. So I doubt that that's the announcement. That's not really an
Right.
investment announcement, but that is something that Cointelegraph at least is breaking right now.
Yeah, I have this right here. If you want to go to my screen, Smay,
Go for
this is the True Social. Can you remove my face for a second so that people can read this all the way? This coming out of Kabesi letter here just a little bit ago. To the great farmers of the United States, get ready to start making a lot of agricultural products to be sold inside of the United States. Tariffs will go on external product on April 2nd. Have fun. Now, I hear some people in chat saying this is the announcement. I don't think that sounds like the announcement. It could be. That could be the announcement. But again, it looks like we're still waiting on that page to say Donald Trump should be coming up to speak soon. I'm assuming he will clarify some details if that was the big announcement. Otherwise, though, I expect a little bit more to come out as well. But sorry, T-shirt, didn't want to interrupt you. Keep going.
Well, I just want to clarify on that, too. That is not the announcement because Fox News would not be dumb enough to have a thing that says soon President Trump makes announcement if there wasn't an announcement they had word on. Yeah. So that is not the announcement.
Yeah, the Trump said differently. The Trump team is in communication with major media outlets guiding what is to come, but they're behind schedule. Donald Trump happens to be a very busy man with a lot of different priorities. In case you didn't know, he's trying to negotiate peace all over the world, right? So there's a lot going on that's keeping him occupied. But luckily, you're locked in to a investment channel here. We try to go live every single day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you have the opportunity to subscribe here. Maybe you're not into investing, right? But maybe you need to save money. You need to invest. We love talking to people about how they can get ahead in their own finances. And cryptocurrency is obviously one of the main things that we like to talk about here, but we'll talk about anything in our Discord. You can go there. Mm-hmm. The link is down below. But if for nothing else, just subscribe and tune in, and you'll pick some stuff up about how to grow your wealth over time. Don't just earn money and spend it the next day, right? You can actually save money and invest money, and that money will grow. Einstein called compound interest growth the eighth wonder of the world, because it really is crazy. You could just be a manager at a fast food restaurant, and you can be a millionaire through the power of compound growth by the time you're retired. It really is beautiful. Really is beautiful. So thanks for watching and tuning in. Like we've been saying, we'll be hearing from Trump soon enough. Soon enough. Now, there's some updates from the Kabesi letter on GDP. We could potentially chat a little bit about that or not.
Yeah, there's a chat Bedridden wants me to respond to, but I do not find it. So I'm telling him to tag me in it. But what I was going to say is, so we're going to keep going as we wait on Trump here. We've talked a lot already. We talked a lot about the strategic reserve, that big announcement yesterday. That is going to be one of the two big catalysts of why crypto still hits new all-time highs. The bull market is not over. But let's flip to the other side, because what I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, for anyone who's newer to the channel, there's two different things we are waiting on. When we were dipping in Bitcoin, there was two things we were waiting on: institutional adoption coming from regulatory clarity, and then the other one was going to be a quantitative easing announcement coming from the Fed. And while we still have a while to wait from the Fed, there were details that came out today in terms of numbers that would make quantitative easing coming sooner. And that comes by way of the Georgia Fed announcing that the GDP is a whole lot worse than we actually originally thought. For more on that, Tshroom, why don't we bring that story back up and begin to have that conversation as well? What do you have for us there?
Yeah. Absolutely, and I've done a little bit more research, and there's a lot going on here. So the tweet reads from the Cabesi letter, a trusted source in the world of macroeconomics. Wow, the Atlanta Fed just revised their Q1 2025 GDP growth estimate lower again, from negative 1.5% GDP growth on February 28th to negative 2.8% today. So an even deeper in the negative estimate for February. This estimate now has now dropped from plus 3.9 originally. That was the original estimate for GDP to the freshly revised estimate of negative 2.8 in just 4 weeks. Now, Tim, there's a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
Before I ask you for your take, I had a poll up yesterday just to add insult to injury here, kind of belabor the point. I put up this poll. I said, will mass government layoffs spike unemployment and force the Fed to cut rates in June? If you can probably see where we're going with this now. 56.9% of people said yes, and out of 153 people. So I like to have a little bit more than 200 people vote, but this is essentially, somewhat accurate. So you have the unemployment rate, right? That could potentially spike and cause the Fed to cut. What do you think is GDP? Now, keep in mind, the Fed only has a dual mandate. They don't have a tri mandate, right? They have the mandate of unemployment and inflation. There's target rates for both of those, and that's what they do day in and day out to try to achieve those targets. GDP is not one of them, but it is absolutely a major indicator of what the U.S. economy is looking like. Gets a lot of criticism today, but Tim, the last bit of information here I want to present to you before we kind of dive in on this discussion is, for the first time that I'm seeing it on Polymarket, it's still very much predicting that we will not see a cut in March, so in this month, and we will not see a cut in May. 61% confidence will not see a cut in May. But in June, it is now 60% likely that the betting odds are now higher for a 25 basis point decrease in June. So that's the first time that I've seen it here on Polymarket. Tim, does this GDP revision showing negative GDP growth from an original plus 3% growth rate, is that going to essentially put Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, in the corner where he has to cut maybe as early as June?
Yeah, so what that's going to do is ultimately, you're absolutely right. We don't have a tri mandate here. It's all about unemployment and it's about inflation numbers. But during the Biden administration, like it, love it, hate it, whatever you felt about the Biden administration, it's very clear what's coming out. A lot of accusations that people said during the time period is true. The numbers were fluffed. The numbers were a little bit boosted up to make things look a lot better than they actually were. And as we're going through all the details, it turns out the economy is nowhere close to where we actually thought it would be. But part of the reason why Jerome Powell was able to keep interest rates so much higher is because, well, inflation wasn't doing bad, but it wasn't necessarily at that 2% goal he wanted. Unemployment was still doing well. The numbers said the economy was still doing well. I mean, we had this amazing 3% GDP. Well, all of a sudden, with that GDP falling, with unemployment rising at a very quick level, this will make a very big recession talk happen if he doesn't work to solve it sooner rather than later. Now, before people freak out and say, no, Tim, this is terrible, this means we're heading for a recession, everything's going to be doom and gloom, cut the brakes. This one's going to be a little bit different than one we've ever seen before, because in this one, whales and institutions have been sitting on some cash that normally is not associated with recessions. A lot of times when a recession hits, the reason why it gets so bad, even though the Fed starts cutting rates, is because they're cutting rates in response to something terrible, and nobody had cash in the first place, right? In a recession, you want to be sitting on some sort of cash, and you want to wait for some pullback in the markets to then put that cash back into the markets. Well, in this case, as it looks like we're heading for another technical recession with that GDP dropping, with unemployment spiking, while retail investors might not be able to buy the dips because they're worried about paying their bills and paying for their housing and making sure their family's situated, there's a lot of wealthy individuals, a lot of whales and institutions that have been sitting on liquidity, sitting on cash, and they will be able to take advantage of this whole situation and buy the blood in the streets and buy the dip and buy the fear, while retail has to sit on the sideline. So for anyone who's sitting in a spot where they think they might lose the job, this is not a good story. This is not good news. This makes you very fearful for your livelihood, for your ability to keep feeding your family and put food on the table. But if you're sitting in a good spot and you have money, you're looking at the conditions here as things are relatively cheap. Even the stock market at this point has pulled back pretty dramatically. You see a lot, trillions of dollars of cash on hand to whales and institutions. This is setting up very beautifully to become a massive bull market, despite the fact that some news is scaring investors away. Why? Because the whales and the institutions, the rich, they'll get richer, be able to buy when pretty much most of retail cannot. But the few retail that can hold on and buy as many dips as they can and hold on to their portfolios and ride the waves of all the craziness, they will profit as well. It's about where can you be in that whole situation. But I want to make no mistake. This is good news for the markets, maybe not great news for every single individual out there. And if this is negatively affecting you, just so you guys know, we are very sorry for you guys. Reach out, let us know if there's anything we can do, any way we can help you guys. We want to see everyone win. I understand the world of investing, a lot of times someone has to lose for others to win. My goal is every single person who joins the Investing Bros Academy will long-term be in that winning circle. We're going to lose a trade here and there. We're going to make some investments that don't pan out the way we think they will. But if you stick with us over the long time frame of processing the charts and processing the news and being involved in taking risk, we're all going to make it a very long way because we're going to work alongside the manipulated situations. We're going to watch the whales and institutions and understand how they tick. We're not going to just invest emotionally. We're not just going to invest when the news and the media says go in and buy and sell when the media says to sell. We're going to do it responsibly and wisely to make sure we're doing the same thing that those wealthy people are doing as well. So hopefully, if that describes you guys and you guys are ready to make a lot of money, stick with the bros. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Get an update from Smay here. Says the First Lady has something at 2 p.m. I hope they don't move on from Trump here. Yeah. I'm starting to think that maybe if this is going to be one we're not going to get live here on the show. Tshroom, what are you thinking?
Well, so it's possible that it was this farming tariff, this agricultural tariff that was a big one. I mean, he ended his truth, which is what they're called, what tweets are called over on Truth Social, with the words "have fun!" ! Right? So that kind of feels like a little bit of like that might have been the announcement. I don't know. Yeah, I can't confirm that. And then you also have the Taiwan Semiconductor to announce $100 billion investment to U.S. chip manufacturing plant. I mean, that's big, right? That's a very big number, right? The other thing too is like whenever crypto is brought up, usually AI is brought up as well. And so we got a big crypto announcement yesterday. Today, you could just conclude is the big AI day. You're not going to hear much about crypto today. So, and that's kind of how the market seems to be treating it. Seems to be reacting to the downside in potential disappointment. Okay, so at this point in time, I think it'd be worth it to just wait a little bit longer just in case. But at this point in time, I think what's likely happened here was one of two things. First, is there was a miscommunication between Trump's team and the media, right? To kind of overhype this. This morning we saw headlines, 1:30 live will be, there's going to be a big announcement. Well, it's possible that Trump, was supposed to go live, but he said, hey, I don't want to go live. Let's just put out the information. And it's an agricultural tariff and TSMC is getting a bunch of money. I'm going to go do other stuff, right? So it's either that, there was a miscommunication. Could also be that he's having to, attend to a very high acute, high level acute type of issue that only the president would have to deal with, right? In a Hollywood kind of fashion that you might expect. So, I think we hang out a little bit longer, just see if there's some more breadcrumbs to try to piece together what might be happening here. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
Let's take a look here. There was some chat earlier. Let's see. Space says, Tshroom, the Taiwan news is the news Fox just said. So Fox did just report on the Taiwan news. Again, added liquidity to the market. That's going to be a good thing long term. There was a chat posted here earlier. I put in here. Yeah, from Jesus is Lord. He said, hey, Tim, I have a lot of money in WIF. Can you see the chart for me, please? Jesus is Lord, if you're still in chat. By the way, I agree with the name you have there. Let's take a look at WIF real quickly. I will say WIF is not one that I am, first of all, invested in. And secondly, it's not even one of the meme coins that I think have the best chance at being something long-term future. Let me show you on the charts why that kind of is. Now, WIF is a newer coin. Came out back in 2024. Or maybe it came out a little sooner than that, but that's when it listed on Binance. Let's see if there's an older chart. Maybe MEXC has an older chart there. Yeah, MEXC says it came out actually back here in December of 2023, right? But here's something that I don't necessarily love about this chart, right? So a very explosive end of 2023, explosive 2024, peaked out here in March of 2024, got all the way up here towards 490. And then we kind of double topped. I mean, it didn't quite get back to the all-time high. We kind of had a decent November. But overall, overwhelmingly, instead of going higher highs here, we put in lower highs. And now we're significantly below where we were last summer. For a meme coin, especially a newer meme coin, that's not a good look here. What you would want to have seen is you would have wanted to see a consistent higher high and higher low being put in here. With us now putting in a technically lower high and now a significant lower low, there's one of two ways to think about it. Number one, you could say, well, it's way more oversold than the rest of the space. You could have a bigger investment down the way, maybe, but that then becomes a question of fundamentally, why would it do that? And as we know, the fundamentals of memes is simply momentum and how much people enjoy the meme. This meme is losing momentum, okay? That's not a chart that you really like. Wisdom would say you look for a better horse to run on in this case. Again, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. Jesus is Lord, but I would say there's going to be other coins that I look at that are a lot more productive and are better holds for long term than dog with hat. Could you have some short term trades in there? Maybe. Are there little pumps you can watch on for the charts? Absolutely. But if we're talking about long term holding, I don't know if WIF is one I would be recommending to anybody.
Yeah. So really quick, let me add a little bit of meat to the bones here, because we do have a more of a general audience today that's tuning in. You're curious about the announcement from the Trump administration. What the heck is the announcement? It looks like it is this. If you go to my screen, the Taiwan Semiconductor to announce $100 billion investment in U.S. chip manufacturing plants. President Donald Trump is slated to announce $100 billion investment from the Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturer. Now, what does this mean? Tim gives a good explanation. This is going to be a liquidity, opening up some liquidity into the U.S. market here, but it also is a pretty strategic move geopolitically, because these semiconductors are becoming, semiconductor chips are becoming more and more important to defense, right? They're used in all kinds of different intelligence gathering systems as well as weapons systems, right? And even more importantly, they're used in AI, right? And performing the computational task that is required for AI. Now, these semiconductors are designed by companies like Microsoft. They're designed by companies like Apple and Google and more. But it is actually the Taiwanese semiconductor company, TSMC, that makes them, right? And makes the substrate for those semiconductors to then go to be fully assembled in Germany or the United States or another country or Japan. And so Taiwan has become of very big geopolitical significance because we need to have these semiconductors, right? Well, then you start to add in the layer of China and its proximity and its posturing towards Taiwan, and how, just frankly, a lot of the Chinese policy and their position on Taiwan is that it's part of China. Well, that opens up a lot of questions. We're not going to wade into the controversy of that. There's already enough going on in the world. But the point is that TSMC making this investment, $100 billion into American fabs, is reassuring to the future of American AI. And it's also reassuring to Ford Motors, that gets a lot of semiconductors from Taiwan, to Dell Computers, to a lot of American companies, as well as global companies, that there will be in the future a American-based sourcing for semiconductors, which is at this point the base layer. It's kind of like cement. It's the base layer for the future of what is going to grow economies and things like that into the future. So it's a very big announcement from Donald Trump. Does it have a lot to do with crypto? A little bit, because that $100 billion is going to come to the United States market, and it's going to get spent at a lot of different places, but it will flow into the U.S. economy in one way or another. Most of it is going to go to construction companies, I would imagine, who are now building the manufacturing needed to to create something that before this had only been able to be created in Taiwan. Make no mistake, these chip fabs aren't going to be operational probably for 3 to 5 years, based on my understanding of the situation.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, guys. It looks like we're going to go and wrap up today's stream. I saw someone put in chat, I'm going to have to agree. A little bit of a nothing burger. Was expecting Donald Trump to come on and speak. If he goes live later, potentially we'll talk about maybe going live later. That being said, even though this stream and this time period ended up not being anything big, I want to encourage you guys, don't lose hope just yet. Don't walk away from the markets. I know this feels painful. I know Bitcoin is back down at 87,000. We told you guys more than likely we will see 86 or 85 again. That'll be a higher low, but it still will feel painful for some of you. But the rest of this week is going to be so very important because even though this meeting ended up being very confusing, the details are all over the place, it didn't directly affect crypto. There are several other events this week that 100% will be talking about cryptocurrency. You want to be ready, be prepared. Don't take your eyes off the charts. Make sure to continue to study them, study the news, be ready, because just like yesterday morning, when the markets took off before you could even blink an eye because of a major story, you don't want to miss the next big pump, and it will be coming sooner than you would think. That being said, on your way out, make sure to smash that like, hit subscribe. If you want to keep talking crypto, go join our free Discord right now where the conversation never stops. Tshroom will be live at 4 p.m. with a Q&A session for some of our members. Go over, get to be a part of that. With that said, though, we will see all of you tomorrow. Not the same time. We'll be at 3 p.m. as normal, but the same place here on the Investing Bros YouTube channel. You guys have a fantastic day. We'll see you tomorrow. Adios.